And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Here we are, episode 328. I am so sorry. If you were watching the video, you saw me throw down my headphones. We'll just pull them off very quickly and look around the apartment as if a fire was going off. Coincidentally, the fire alarm was going off. Now, here's the thing. I know that the fire alarm people are downstairs working on the fire alarm. They've been doing this for, I don't know, 2 weeks now? 2 weeks ago. No, 3 weeks now, because 3 weeks ago, they were here at this building. Then we have a second building. They went to that second building last week, and now they're back over here. Also, who else is here? Comcast Xfinity is working on the gates to get into the apartment complex, which I didn't even know that was a thing that Comcast Xfinity was in charge of. I have Google Fiber. I don't use Comcast. I'd rather pay the $70. Hey, listen, I have to introduce some interview. Yeah, I know I just spent 2 minutes talking about the fire alarm went off. It was so loud and it scared the dickens out of me. Nova did not stir, but Maverick did run over here. All right. Who do we have today? We are talking to Mo Collins, the comedian, the actress, the comedic actress, Mo Collins. She appeared on Night Court to play a character who was once the sidekick to Judge Stone's magician judge. Now, did she exist as that character previously? No. This is just how you build a world, you know, of Night Court and of sitcoms, of TV shows, of movies, of all that stuff. I'm listening to, this is a little side note, I'm listening to the Lord of the Rings books for the first time, the Andy Serkis versions, and I bought them. And I've seen the movies. A side note to the side note. I own all 6 extended versions. I own the regular versions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy as well. I own them digitally. I own them physically. I've seen all the movies with the exception of Battle of Five Armies. That's a very true statement. I just never saw it in theaters. Just never did. I saw The Hobbit in theaters. I saw Desolation of Smaug in theaters. I've seen the extended Lord of the Rings. Never seen the Hobbit Desolation, or no, excuse me, Battle of Five Armies. Never seen it. How long have I owned these movies? Since they came to Blu-ray and 4K. All that. Never owned it. I never watched it. Anyway, I'll watch it at some point. I'm listening to and I'll get back to Mo Collins in a second. I'm listening to the Lord of the Rings from start to finish, and Tolkien's is introducing characters in The Hobbit. They're talking about characters in video games. Celebrimbor, who's a star of 2 video games, the last 2, because that studio was just shut down this week. Monolith, R.I.P. WB does not know what it's doing. Anyway, and I heard a little segment about Celebrimbor this morning when I was listening to the audiobook before the gym. That's what I do at 3:30 in the morning. I listen to an audiobook before the gym. Or a podcast, doesn't really matter. Just getting ready, drinking coffee. Anyway, so that's what that is. It's world building. You're building worlds. You might recognize Mo Collins from shows like Invader Zim. You've seen her on Arrested Development as also another character named Starla. You've seen her on Curb Your Enthusiasm, Parks and Recreation as Joan Calamezzo, and don't know why I put a little lilt on that. You've seen her on Mad TV. You've seen her on Fear the Walking Dead. She's a great character actor. I think she's funny, and I had a pleasure of talking. Pleasure of. Ugh. I had a pleasure. It was a pleasure to talk to her. What am I doing? Anyway, you can watch that episode of Night Court. She's very funny. She's a treat. I also managed to squeeze in some Mad TV references because that's important to me. Mad TV was very formative to me. Mo Collins, Night Court. Hey, if you want to follow her, give her a follow on Instagram at _Mo_Collins. I'm not kidding. If you're listening to this show, you've more than likely seen or heard her voice. You know. What else? Check out Night Court, NBC. What else? I'm sure Mad TV will be available to stream at some point. If you want to see a video version of the interview, head to youtube.com/peoplescomedy where you can see a video version of this show. And I'll get rid of. Jesus, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I'll be frank. I never get thrown off my game. The fire alarm going off truly threw me off. But I'm not going to restart this episode. Mo Collins, Mo Collins on Instagram, Night Court on NBC. Here's the part where I start the song, and I realize, there we go. That is now happening. And then we'll just wait. I'll just talk over what's happening. Check it out. Mo Collins. Okay. By the time you hear me finish talking, you'll be listening to us talking. Bye. And we're back. Welcome back to the show. I hope you enjoyed that nice little chat I had with Mo. She's funny. And we got to be silly. That was the theme. What's been going on? Well, I started a new freelance writing thing. And I've been writing. Maverick and I went to our local recycling center. Then we went to a dog park. The thing about him is that he hates the heat. And I'm starting to think Nova hates the heat too, because usually when I'm cycling, I can't do this anymore because my neighbors now have a dog, and they refuse to take that dog downstairs to go pee. They have one of those balcony piss turfs, and they take that. Again, I don't know if I ever mentioned this. They've been fighting. Those people have been fighting, but they got a dog, which is, I think, ill-advised. Because they've been fighting. Arguing about marriage, arguing about jobs. Look, if I can hear you through the wall, this is up for grabs. But they got a dog after Christmas, I guess, to quell the fighting? I don't know. But they refuse to take it downstairs, like everybody else, to go pee or poop. And they just bring it out onto the balcony. And unfortunately, our balconies can see each other. Some of the only ones on the property. Like, there's a handful of ones on the property that do that. And every single person that's moved to the apartment has just been a nuisance. So I can't let Maverick and Nova out there like I used to be able to, because Maverick will go crazy, or their dog will see Nova and just start going wild. I just think, oh mon Dieu, qu'est-ce que c'est? A little bit of French. In terms of things I've been watching, so Nova's been, but sometimes I'll let her out there when I know they're not out there, and then she'll go out there for a little bit. But now that it's been warming up, usually she'll want to stay out in the sun. Now she's just like, I gotta get back inside. Just meowing like crazy. Anyway, Maverick hates the heat. He does not like going for walks in the heat. He just wants to play with the dogs. So I went to the dog park. And then I brought a little. If you're watching the video, there's a lid. You can see on the kitchen counter over there on the high counter. There's a water bottle. You turn it over and the water comes out, and it's a little. Go away. There's a little bowl for dogs. And he drank that entire thing within like 20 minutes. I'm like, dude, it's only 65 degrees. I was a little chilly. I was also wearing pants. And this shirt. I'm still sweating. I refuse to turn the air on. I gotta save this money, man. I'm a freelance friggin' contributor. What's been going on? What have I been watching? I'm almost done with 0 Day, starring Robert De Niro, also written by or created by a New York Times columnist and another political person. I try not to look at reviews or like reactions, just really any headlines to shows and movies that I want to see. Even shows and movies I don't want to see. Like I will probably not watch, definitely probably not watch Captain America first. What is that one? The new one. The first Anthony Mackie one. But I do want to support it because it is a person of color in that title role versus all these Oscar movies, The Brutalists, Anora, the rest that don't have people of color in them. I guess I'm the only person that really cares about that. And then everybody does all this other virtue signaling. Unfortunately, the only Oscar movie with people of color in it, besides The Wild Robot, is the one, what's it called? Eva Perez, the one with Carla Sofia Garcon. It's a movie, queer movie, and then she's gonna go ahead and tweet some pretty harsh things. Delete your tweets. Go back in time. Delete your tweets. Delete everything bad. Delete everything. Period. This is what I'm advocating for. I have to turn this off. I'm in no rush. I have one more interview today. I'm in no rush, and it's in an hour. So, buddy, you have to go lay down. Go. Okay, so I've been watching 0 Day. A new game on Xbox came out called Avowed. So I've been playing that. And that's pretty much it. Oh, today's Pokemon Day. There were some new Pokemon announcements. They have Pokemon ZA, which is the next mainline game. One thing bothers me. It's set in Lumio City, which was the setting for one of the settings for Pokemon Black and White, I think, or Pokemon Black and White 2. And it is that apparently that's going to be the only map, but it's going to be big and expansive, sort of like, I don't know. I was going to say San Andreas and GTA San Andreas, but that map is gigantic. San Andreas and GTA 5, that map is gigantic. Vice City. You know, it's going to be big and it's going to be dense. And instead of having, and like in Pokemon Sword and Shield and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they introduced wild zones, which are apart from, you know, wild areas. I forget what they're called. But apart from finding Pokemon in the wild, they're just zones where you find I'm going to use this word again, a dense population of Pokemon. So it's modeled on what they've been building up on with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, as well as Pokemon Legends of Arceus. So this is, anyway, you get 3 starters, and they're not making new starters, so it's kind of like a side game, but they're not making new starters. They're pulling out 3 starters from the past. And what's strange to me, not concerning, but what's strange is, for Pokemon Legends, they gave you could choose between Oshawott, Cyndaquil, and some other Pokemon. I forgot which one. That's a game I own. I'm about an hour and a half into it because I bought it, I believe, the same day I got Scarlet and Violet. I'm not kidding. I think I bought those the exact same day. And I put all my attention into Scarlet and Violet. at that time. Now I can go ahead, but then I bought the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, and then I bought the DLC for Sword and Shield. So now I'm just trying to finish both of those before I really dedicate time to Legends of Arceus. I have nothing going on in my life. But my problem is with Pokemon Legends ZA, and this is legitimately my only problem. They choose two starters who are from the same generation, and then since Cyndaquil was already used in Legends, they choose another fire starter to take its place from a later generation. So you can choose in ZA, you can choose from Chikorita, Totodile, and Tepig, which is so odd to me. If you're going to go that route of mixing up the generations, then get rid of Chikorita and Totodile and throw in somebody else. Well, either one, it doesn't matter. Just throw in somebody else. So that was a nice surprise. And then there's also going to be an iOS and Android game, as well as what I assume to be a free Switch game, Pokemon Champions, where you can just battle people online with Pokemon that you caught from Pokemon Go or Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and you send a Pokemon home, and then you take it from Pokemon home and put it in that game. Or I guess they're because it's going to be on Android and iOS, so I assume not everybody's going, they're going to give you some Pokemon to start out with. Anyway, I'm excited. It's going to be a real fun time. Let's get into the stories. This comes from The Hollywood Reporter and by Alex Weprin. ESPN breaks up with MLB after 35-year run as league tests market for new deal. Sports rights are some of the most expensive things in the history of entertainment and the history of deals, because they make you a lot of money and they cost you a lot of money. This is going to change a lot in terms of how you view baseball. Now, where are we with baseball? Right now, you can watch a lot of games on ESPN. You can watch a lot of games on TBS. ESPN's owned by Disney. TBS is owned by Warner. You can watch Friday night games on Apple TV Plus through a subscription, through a separate subscription from Apple TV Plus, from Apple TV Plus. And then you can also watch Sunday games, if I'm correct, on Peacock. And in between that, there's MLB games dispersed throughout your local regions via Fox Sports or BN or what have you. But this deal has been one of the longest relationships in sports rights for a while. So after 2025, this is what's going to happen. The decision was mutual. The league's ready to move on to different ways for people to watch these games. In terms of easily accessing games, you can go on MLB. I assume MLB TV is a way for you to do that, where you can get out of market game packages, but that's so much money. That is $150 per year if you want all teams, and if you just want all teams monthly, that's $29.99. That's the same thing you can do for the NFL. You can do that for NBA as well. And there's also an in-market package for $99 per year. I'm also going to assume, there's a lot of assumptions today, that you can do that with hockey. You can get a free MLB subscription with T-Mobile through certain things. There's a lot of ways to access MLB games. Sources told THR last summer that ESPN was likely to opt out of its MLB deal when the window opened this year, given the cost of the rights, though ESPN executives also expressed interest in pursuing deals with regional sports networks to bundle those with its streaming offering. I don't know what's more lucrative, the NBA or MLS or MLB, or I assume the NFL is probably the most lucrative, especially because it ends with the big game in the Pro Bowl. ESPN, we know, just re-signed a deal with the NBA. And they also have a deal with the NCAA that includes women's March Madness. But it was willing to let go of the MLB and the Big Ten, which I don't know who's in the Big Ten, so I don't watch college sports. In a similar story, and I'm not linking to this, Warner Brothers said that Max is not going to, at some point this year, actually I think at some point last year, they were supposed to charge for Bleacher Report Sports as its own separate subscription within Max. But now they're scrapping that idea and they're going to just take it away from ad-supported. So that means if you pay for the ad-supported version, you're not going to get Bleacher Report Sports, which includes right now live NBA games and all the racing and all that, and just live sports. And also they're throwing in CNN live streaming as well. So that means that's gone too. So if you pay for ad-supported Max, then too bad. Moving on, this comes from the Wall Street Journal, and it is written by Patience Hagen. Bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max has a strong hold on viewers. It's even stickier than Netflix. This is early data. This new bundle debuted in July, and apparently people are really, really loving it. We all know that Netflix is probably the most, I'm not going to say overrated, but I'm definitely going to say overly expensive streaming platform. But they can do that because they are the market leader, and they have been for years. They can charge, I think they're going up to $26, however much, but right now it's $23. But they can charge $25, $26 for their platform because they have the numbers, and also people are going to say that they want to watch Netflix. Even though I see online all the time, like, oh, I'm unsubscribing from Netflix, I'm unsubscribing, or you hear about it, you're always going to come back. Be it because Cobra Kai Season 3 dropped, Part 3, or Stranger Things Final Season Part 2, or this new movie, that new movie, because of the exclusive streaming home to this show, whatever. You're always going to come back. Netflix is going to, I feel as though Netflix is the one that people will not drop forever, imminently. But when Warner Brothers and Disney teamed up for this bundle, which also was supposed to be a separate bundle from the Venu thing, the Venu sports streaming app that they were creating with Fox, I had no faith in it. But again, people really like, I just look at I even look at myself in the past month, what I haven't been looking at, and everything has been on Disney Plus and Hulu, and to some extent Max, even though they keep getting rid of things. The bundle is obviously offered at a discount. How much money is that supposed to be? I don't exactly know. The bundle is, if you want Disney Plus and Hulu with ads, that's $10. Max with ads is $20. I'm going to say it's 15 or 16. I'm going to find it. Disney Max bundle. It is $17. I was $1 off. Ugh. And you can get it through both Disney Plus and Max's website. How much is it? I'll tell you right now, the Disney Bundled Trio is $27, and that's insane to me. Okay. About 80% of the bundle subscribers are still paying for the service 3 months later based on data for those who signed up between July and September, making it stickier than any of the services on their own. Which means people who get Disney Plus by themselves or Hulu by themselves or Max by themselves will more often stick with paying $17 for all three in lieu of going hey, I want Disney and Hulu, or I want Disney and Max, or I want Max and Hulu. During that period, the triple whammy bundle was even stickier than Netflix, the envy of the industry and its ability to keep customers. About 74% of people who started subscribing to Netflix between July and September were still subscribed 3 months later. So it's a difference about 6%, obviously. We see that. Customer retention is the thing right now. You want to be able to. I am recording a podcast. Someone through the walls. Sorry. I wonder, we're hitting the precipice of platforms, and actually I think we have already gone past it, especially when the current administration in the United States, when there's no money for people to spend, and now a couple of years ago these bundles would have been fine and people would have had all of the platforms, but now people are wanting to pick and choose what's happening. And with a deal like the Skydance and Paramount deal that is going to go through in a couple of months, they're aiming for the top of the end of Q1, something like that. Anyway, they're aiming for this year. And then, Peacock's not doing too hot. And then we have multiple platforms searching for bundles, or DirecTV even launched today, I believe, like a themed pick and choose package for streaming, where you can just, like, if you want the Spanish speaking ones, which would be like Telemundo, Univision, and other things like that, that's $35. If you want to add the Disney channels, that's $35. So FXX, Disney, Nat Geo, stuff like that. We're going to go an a la carte route, and people and things are going to get more and more niche. But it's only the two ones that will survive will ultimately be the powerhouses like Netflix and Disney Plus. And I'm not even throwing Max up there. I'm just saying Disney Plus in some iteration, and Netflix in its current iteration. And then the smaller ones like BritBox and AMC Plus, those are the ones that people are going to be looking to, because they offer what these other ones can't. If if Warner is going to allow shows like Justice League, like The Sopranos, to be offered on Tubi and Netflix and Hulu, then what's the point of subscribing to Max? Well, you get the Penguin, you get the White Lotus, you get movies that premiere there. But then after that, what happens? You get the Dune show. Prime Video offers you the ability to have Amazon Prime. Disney Plus, if you get that bundle, especially, it brings in currently Hulu and currently ESPN. And at some point, it'll just be Disney Plus, and then Hulu will just be an entity within, and the Hulu.com and Hulu app will just be gone. And ESPN Plus won't exist, and we'll just have snippings of ESPN on there. And then if you want ESPN, you'll get that app later that comes out later this year. Then Apple TV is not going to be able to keep up, because they're already pulling back on that type of spending. It's all so rote at this point, and it's not looking good for the consumer in the end. And then we're gonna have people drift towards Pluto and Tubi and Roku channel, but even those platforms aren't going to be able to sustain the output that people need. Because even if we're gonna enjoy watching Batman the Animated Series over and over again, we also want the Penguin again, or Andor season 2, or Spider-Man: Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider. Is that what that show's called? I've seen 8 episodes and I don't know the name of the show. That theme song is hot, though. I love that theme song. I never skip it. I think I skipped it 6 times. But I love that theme song. All right, this next one comes from, it's a brand new story that came out this morning from Deadline. Tired of all the pop-ups. Written by Dade Hayes. The CW will become profitable in 2026, Nexstar reaffirms, with 40% of its programming now sports. Nexstar purchased the CW from Warner. The CW also had a little bit of ownership under CBS, I believe. I know some. It's all squiggly, but they purchased it from Warner. They canceled Nexstar, canceled all of the shows on the CW, everything from the Walker, whatever it's called. I think that was called Walker, not the Walker. Walker, the Gotham Knights, which is a show I had never watched. I said after The Flash ends, after Legends of Tomorrow ends, after Supergirl ends, I'm done. No more of that stuff. Now I'm watching Gotham. Gotham is good. And it has nothing to do with that crap. They canceled one of the All-Americans, I think. And then the other one is still on. They brought in a bunch of shows from Canada. They have some very cheaply made comedy shows. And then they also have sports. Because again, sports is good. There's a I don't even know what league of baseball they are, but there's a baseball team called the Savannah Bananas, and they're like the Harlem Globetrotters, but for baseball. And their league is like maybe 10 or so teams. They live stream their games on YouTube. Every single one of the games is sold out because it's fun and everybody and the audience gets involved. I wonder if it will be possible for the CW to try to get the rights for the Savannah Bananas, because I'm going to guarantee you it's cheap. But if you also offer that to people who want to watch that style of baseball live on TV, that's going to bring you in so much. There's a Paw Patrol 3. I just want you to know there's a Paw Patrol 3 on the way. Coming to the theaters. But that's going to bring in so many viewers. Consistent with our prior guidance, we anticipate the impact of these resets, which includes the canceling of shows, on our advertising trajectory will enable the CW to achieve profitability during 2026, said Nexstar President and COO Mike Biard. Yeah, I was right. It's a 50-50. CW used to be owned by both Warner and CBS. Not Paramount, just CBS. Paramount Global, I guess, and Warner Brothers Discovery each maintain 12.5% positions in the network. Interesting. The overhaul of programming at the CW has been the key driver of results on the bottom line, Biard said, along with the laying off of a number of senior execs and lowering overall costs because they want to make things cheaply. The network has made a dramatic shift towards sports and unscripted fare. In 2025, we'll air about 400 hours of sports or sports-adjacent fare, accounting for about 40% of total programming time. Wow. But they still the thing is they still only air original programming from like 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then that's it. And by original programming, I'm like things that they are going to that they own, as opposed to old episodes of Mike and Molly or the Goldbergs or something. The CW has sought out more affordable offerings for sports rights as it has established itself in the marketplace. Things you can watch on the network platform. Jesus Christ, it's because I'm so used to talking about streaming now. Include college football and basketball, NASCAR Xfinity Series, a junior circuit of the stock car racing mainstay, and a similar up-and-comer subsidiary of the WWE called WWE NXT. I'm not kidding. I thought those were reruns, the WWE NXTs. I don't watch the WWE. There was a point in my life where I tried to. Not for me. So they went from aiming for the young adults to now catching the viewers who want to watch essentially amateur sports, which is seemingly working for them. But in the end, will the sports rights be something that they can buoy originals off of? And I don't mean like things that they buy from Jesus Christ, that they buy from Canada. You can buy the rights for shows and not movies, because I don't think they would air movies on the CW. But you can buy the rights for shows from Canada, but you have to start making your own shows, because otherwise people are going to flock to other ways to watch whatever they want to watch. They're not going to want to watch the NASCAR's Xfinity Series all the time. I watch the PGA Tour, but I don't watch every amateur match that's happening. If I can't name a majority of the golfers, when I see that there's going to be a tournament on the weekend, then I'm not going to watch it. That goes for the ladies and the men. If my beautiful future wife, Nelly Corda, is not playing, I am not watching. Unfortunately, I think she would be too tall for me. She would look down on me, wouldn't even want this. This next one comes from Puck, written by Kim Masters. The Imax Narnia nuclear option. Netflix announced that there's going to be a 2-week IMAX exclusive theatrical run of the Greta Gerwig directed Chronicles of Narnia reboot. They're going to show Narnia on at least 1,000 IMAX screens starting on Thanksgiving weekend 2026. Netflix would then wait 2 weeks before debuting the film on Christmas Day. But this has gotten in the craw of a lot of people. Theater owners and studio execs, Masters writes, who are kind of essential to IMAX's business, wanted to throttle Rich Gelfand, who is the IMAX CEO. Netflix has been on the wrong side of the debate when it comes to airing movies. People, theater owners, and people who make movies want the majority of them. I would think that there's, in the same way that there are musicians probably that don't care if you just stream their records as long as you show up to the concerts, they're fine. I'm going to also assume that there are filmmakers and actors and creators and show creators who just go, hey, watch my show on Netflix. It doesn't matter. Watch my movie on Netflix. But this is something that goes all the way back to the movie Roma, which was the first real Oscar contender that Netflix put out years ago. They've never won an Oscar. In fact, I was listening to, I'm currently reading the book Oscar Wars, which is about the Oscars. I was trying to finish it before Sunday. That ain't going to happen because I'm so caught up in Lord of the Rings. That's the truth. But the writer for Oscar Wars, now I have to figure out who this guy. I have a computer in front of me. Good Lord. Michael Schulman appeared on Audie Cornish's podcast to talk about the Oscars this week and all the hubbub about what has happened with Carla Sofia Garcon. I'm completely butchering this. But he also mentioned that the only streamer that's ever won Best Picture has been Apple TV, and they won for Coda, which I believe is the movie about the deaf people. That's what the movie's about. But now the Academy has, not now, but like a couple years ago, the Academy was like, you have to put a movie, if you want a movie to be considered for an Oscar, then you have to put it in theaters for a certain amount of time. It's a couple of weeks. Gerwig, like many directors, wants audiences to have a chance to see the films on big screen. In a February 19th call with analysts, Gelfand, remember the Imax CEO, talked about the heavy lifting required to reach the agreement that they have with Netflix and Gerwig. The Netflix IMAX deal, however, didn't work for the legacy studios and chains that regard Netflix as their quote-unquote common enemy, as one studio veteran told Masters. According to sources, some of the studios had vehemently pressed IMAX not to do this deal. IMAX's most important partner, Disney, is especially furious given the many millions of dollars its mega hits have put into IMAX's coffers. They don't want to give Netflix this run ahead for what would be an Oscar contender movie. And also they want their movies to be showcased because they have deals, these studios, Warner, Disney, Skydance, all these studios. They have deals with IMAX, with AMC, with Regal, with Cinemark, and others that they hammer out so that they can have their movies released to a wide public who wants to go see a movie in theaters the traditional way, and also have that window, the 90-day or the 120-day or the 30-day, as small as it may be at this point, to watch at home. And there are a ton of movies opening up that same weekend also on IMAX screens. Disney's got one. It said it's unspecified. There's a Marvel movie as well. Lionsgate has a Hunger Game prequel. What? Why? As you can see, I've never read this article. Can theaters refuse to play the Greta Gerwig film, Narnia, on their IMAX screens? The answer is yes. IMAX licenses its technology to chains, which means that, there's an AMC, I believe in Alpharetta, near the mall, that has an IMAX theater. Excuse me, an IMAX screen. I think that's where I saw Spider-Man. I saw a Spider-Man over there. It was the last one with the other two Spider-Mans. I was convinced to see that in theaters by my friend Shantiana Keys. I drove up from the city to there to go see that movie. There's also an IMAX 90 millimeter screen, I believe, or I don't know, whatever the good one is. The film 70 millimeter IMAX 70 millimeter screen at the Mall of Georgia, which I've been to see Oppenheimer. But down here where I go, there's no IMAX AMCs. I don't think they have the space, but there's an IMAX screen at the Regal at Atlantic Station. They're calling this so IMAX licenses its technology to theater chains. Exhibition and studio sources told Masters that the chains ultimately control what gets booked on those screens. So they could instead say, hey, we're not going to play Narnia. We're going to go with whatever Disney movie or whatever Marvel movie or whatever Hunger Games movie is coming out. Gelfand assured everybody involved that there was a quote-unquote nuclear option to ensure the theaters will cooperate and book the film. What specifically? They don't know what the tool is, specifically what the tool is, or what the nuclear option is. Like you're going to pull the IMAX technology, like you're not allowed to use this anymore. They're running like a dinky little projector down on this giant IMAX screen. The sound is like a Sonos Era 300. Just a single one though. So it sounds good if you're like right next to it. People are angry about this because you have AMC's CEO Adam Aron saying that movies should be in theaters. You have or people going the right way, like Rian Johnson who does the Knives Out series, and AMC, Regal, and Cinemark have all shown that movie for a week-long run in 600 theaters in November 2022. You've got to be able to play ball and do these things right. Christopher Nolan, Tom Cruise, they don't want their movies streaming. They want people to go to theaters. But then you have other exhibitors. You have other people who say, just stream the movie on the platform. It's just easier that way. But just like, it's how is it like this? I don't think you can get a really good workout at home. I have enough here to keep me toned, but I can't get stronger. So I have to go somewhere else to get stronger. I can make really good food here, but there are other places that make better food than me. They're called restaurants. So in that way, yes, you can watch a movie at home. Yes, you can have a great time and you can be safe and you can be, comfortable in your own home. You get distracted, whatever, but you're here and you're watching The Gorge on Apple TV Plus. But wouldn't it be great to go and see One of Them Days, or what's a movie that's out right now? The Monkey. To go see any movie right now, Dog Man, in theaters, be it with people or not. That's the way movies are supposed to be watched. In the same way, I think about this all the time. I think TV shows still, because TV's only been around for like 70, 80 years, but I still think TV shows are meant to be watched a handful at a time and not just like giant bursts. You're not meant to watch an entire season one day. Now, continuing off of that, I hate you. I didn't know this was a blocked article. Continuing off of that, how are movie theaters staying in business? This comes from the New York Times, written by Jim Zaroli. Some of them have pivoted to becoming nonprofits. One fix for ailing movie theaters: becoming nonprofits. There are movie theaters that are 4-screen multiplexes, I guess, but they're independent theaters in smaller markets, and they're having a tough time of attracting people. I know there's a Landmark Cinema here in Atlanta that airs a lot of independent movies alongside the big ones. Along with those independent movies and the big blockbuster movies, they also have these great one-night or two-night events where you can see live plays. It's something with Dave Tennant. You can see Fleabag. You can see whatever. But they're like 1 or 2 night events. And that's wonderful. And then they have themed nights or themed months, like a horror month. You can see Psycho in theaters. And then they'll have like every day or whatever. These movie theaters can only last for so long with or without blockbuster releases. But if you're the only movie theater in town, like the Triplex in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, you have to figure out a way in order to, as an independent theater, continue to operate. Gail Lansky, vice president of the Triplex's board, says you can show retrospectives, you can show foreign films, you can do film festivals, free Saturdays for kids. But becoming a nonprofit opens up every possibility. So now people can subscribe to you in the same way that they subscribe to streaming platforms or music platforms or what have you. Across the country, more than 250 movie theaters are nonprofits, said Brian Brownlick, executive director of the Cinema Foundation, a movie industry group that provides research for cinemas. So since 2019, the number of screens operating in the United States declined by 12% to 36,369. As of 2023, said David Hancock, chief analyst in media and entertainment at the research firm Omida. The popularity of at-home streaming has obviously increased all this stuff. But then you have freaks like me who will go to the theater, who will buy movies on Blu-ray. 4K Blu-ray, please. If it's not 4K, I ain't buying it. He'll buy movies digitally. People are coming back in there, but it's not happening in the same way that concerts have happened. Because again, concerts are kind of like this once in a lifetime thing. I want to see System of a Down live. I couldn't think of a band quick enough. I was thinking about Elton John, but he stopped touring. So I was like, what's a band? What's a band? The community at the Belcourt Theater in Nashville, a community group, had raised millions of dollars to operate and renovate the 1925 Movie Palace, which briefly served as the main stage of the Grand Ole Opry. All of us who work in the theater remember the days when we'd show Badlands, blah, blah, blah. Those who rallied around the triplex in Minnesota are hoping to do the exact same thing. So with the what's going on? What's going on? Let me scroll down. I'm sorry. There's a place where I know there's something I want to talk about. Anyway, with these subscriptions to these movie theaters, I'm going to talk from memory because I cannot find what I'm looking for. With these subscriptions to these movie theaters, you can do things like, have cheaper food. If you're paying like $25 per month to this movie theater, you get reduced tickets to movies, you get free community events, and you also get cheaper food, which is, I think, a great thing for people who want that. It's the same thing that AMC's A-List does. It's just on a smaller level, on a smaller scale. Unfortunately, there are things that there are negative things that come with being a theater chain, an independent theater. Sometimes you need major renovations. And again, you only have 4 screens. So if one of them has a blockbuster, or if 2 of them are independent and 2 of them are empty, independent films and 2 of them are empty, then what's that? And then also, apparently, nonprofit theaters also tend to be a low priority for film distributors, which means they can't always show the latest and greatest movies that are coming out for the Hollywood. I was going to say the Oscars because I'm still thinking of Oscars right now. It can work. You can have a community-driven theater. You just need to be able to get the backing of a lot of studios and distributors. But theaters are much better for watching things, for watching new things, or to experience the joy of seeing something you love with a group of other people who are similar and like-minded. I love a theater. I will go to a theater during the day. And I don't want to go to a packed theater. I'm not trying to die. No, I just don't like people talking. That's why you have people like Quentin Tarantino. You have filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino buying theaters. And unfortunately, Netflix is buying theaters. And Amazon's buying theaters. And yes, they're going to air their movies there so that they can have some Oscar contention. But there you go. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com. This is a long one. Oh, my gosh. Where you can see me talk to famous people there, like Mo Collins. And then also in 20 minutes, I have another interview. If you want to see a video version of this show, as well as a video version of the other podcasts, as well as a video version of the other podcasts, include Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, and video version of the interviews with famous people I have called The Interviews. YouTube.com/C+Comedy. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky at C Plus Comedy, me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye.